Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll try to make this quick because we didn't come here to listen to me. We came here to eat some pizza. First of all, it's an historic day. Yair and the Rise AI team are not here, but I do want to congratulate them for their amazing accomplishment. They got sold today to Wix, in case you didn't know. And yeah, they deserve it. They're great friends, and I'll tell just a short anecdote. 6 years ago, Moran, my partner who's here, and we decided to start our business. We knew we wanted to be in the area of e-commerce, and I saw an email that Yair's company is looking for an employee, and that they already had 200 customers. And I was looking at this, and I said, wow, 200 customers, they must be huge. And and I found his phone number. I called him up. I said, you don't know me, but I'm thinking about building something in e-commerce. He told me about this platform called Shopify, yada, yada, yada. And now we're here. So we're really here to speak about, is 200 customers really huge? And once upon a time, we're all B2B companies. Selling to 200 customers would be a lot of operations, right? You have to have salespeople reaching out, doing a long sales process, pre-sale, doing some customizations, customer success, onboarding, account management, doing renewals. And so it took a lot of effort and a lot of resources to serve this amount of customers. But in today's internet, fast forward, it has become super easy to reach thousands of customers. The challenge becomes, how do we serve thousands of customers without it being such an operational burden? I don't want to hire hundreds of people just to serve thousands of customers. And that's why we're going to speak today about how to build a self-serve app on Shopify. I'll try to make this real quick, just give you some tips that we've learned during 6 years on the platform with Loox. And I'll be happy to answer any questions at the end. So I'm really just going to try to run through this. Please stop me if I'm not being clear. Okay, so just a few words about Loox. Loox is a reviews and referrals solution that helps over 100,000 active Shopify stores grow their business with the power of their happy customers. We help merchants automate the process of collecting photo reviews from their customers and then using them as their strongest form of marketing, as well as we help them encourage their customers to share their experience with friends and generate referrals. We've been active since the end of 2015 on the platform. Sorry, and let me just jump one more slide here just to try to illustrate the magnitude of scale that we operate in. So in 2015, at the end of the year, we served 300 apps, and we were just two people, myself and Moran. Moran was handling all of the technical stuff. I was handling all of the non-technical stuff, including obviously support, 24/7, holidays, and whatnot. And you can see it that as we grew with the years, we had a significant growth in the number of active customers, but the growth of the headcount in the company, and specifically of the support people, did not have to grow at the same pace for us to be able to serve so many customers. And that's, I think, is the goal when you're building an SMB, B2 SMB company, is to be able to act in an efficient operation that is lean and very profitable. It's important always, but I know that many businesses here are bootstrapped, so it's actually critical. This is our oxygen. Being able to operate in a profitable way is what's going to determine whether or not we're going to survive or not. So just to summarize that, the value of a self-serve model for your customers is the ability to buy, use, and enjoy your app without any help of a human. Basically, we all know this. We want things to just work. We don't want to wait for someone to answer our email or even answer our chat. We just want it to be clear and for us to get the value as soon as possible. By the way, this isn't just true for small SMBs. This is not just for dropshippers and PODs. There's a consumerization of the enterprise that's been going on for years now. And even big companies expect things to work out of the box. They want their employees to be able to set up the solutions and gain the value without having to wait or to reach out to someone for help. For us, obviously, the value is the ability to serve many customers while maintaining efficiency and, of course, profitability. Okay, so I'm just going to go through 5 guidelines or 5 guiding principles of how to build a successful self-serve app on Shopify. The first is simple setup. let your merchants easily configure the app without having to go into any complex configurations, and reach the point of value as soon as possible. Try to get them to the aha moment, to the wow moment as soon as possible. Second, an effective knowledge base. If they have a question, if they have a problem, make it as easy as possible for them to solve the problem on their own. Number 3, automated communications. So Eric touched upon this in length in his presentation. We cannot speak with every customer. We can't call every customer. We can't personally email every customer. So we have to make this work in scale, and we'll speak about that. Number 4 is a customer-driven roadmap, meaning we evolve our product over time based on things that we hear from our customers, whether they told this to us directly in email or we see it, for example, in Google Analytics. And number 5, if all else fails, provide world-class customer support. Eventually, if none of these worked and the customer still has questions, still has issues, has requests, be there, answer quickly, make it a happy moment, and then you can capitalize on that as well. But again, this, for a self-serve company, should be the last resort. Okay, so I'm going to go over those 5 guiding principles real quick, show you a few examples, and then we can get some to Q&A. So number 1 is a simple setup. Some businesses here are freemium, some here are free trial. Loox is a free trial business. And we don't let the merchants just immediately access the admin and start using it for 14 days. We actually put them through a pricing page first thing. The advantage that we all have working through Shopify is that our customers don't have to type in their credit card number. In almost every other SaaS solution on the planet, they're going to have to do that, and psychologically, that's friction. For us, it's super easy. Click, click, and it's free, so it's basically super easy. Just so you know, when a merchant installs Loox, they're going to be stuck on this page until they choose a plan. We have more than 90% conversion rate for this, okay? So don't be afraid to ask for them to commit to a free trial before you give them anything. It works. For those who don't choose a plan, we have a follow-up sequence over email, of course, that helps us convert some of those 10% who are left. Next, theme integration. If you have a front-end component, you need to add something into the store theme. Don't let them deal with the liquid. Most of our customers are not going to be technical. They're going to need us to just make it happen for them, and they expect it to just work as magic. They don't want to copy snippets of code, find the right place in the editor, and paste it there. So what we do at Loox, we've mapped all of the popular themes on Shopify. When a merchant installs, we know what theme they have, and we know exactly what's the best place to place our widgets so that it looks the best. So for the Brooklyn theme, it goes here. For the debut theme, it goes over there. And that way, we make sure that for the merchant, it's completely seamless. They install Loox, and it's placed exactly where they'd want it to be.
Yoni, you noted the pricing just as no clarification. So you mean that if they're not going to choose one of the packages, they're not be able to go inside the platform?
Correct. But I'll answer all the questions in the end, but yes, that's correct. Okay. Number 3, onboarding. So most of us have lots of settings in the app. Obviously, there are many edge cases, and we get things from customers all the time. I want to be able to do this, this, and that. And we eventually find that we add a lot of options into the settings, but we have to make it super simple for 99% of the customers who just need the basic, simple solution that you're offering. So the idea is take the most critical settings for them to gain value and put them in the onboarding flow the first time they land on the app. For us, one example is setting up a discount. We want merchants to offer their customers a discount to add a photo to their review. And on the back end, we let the merchants choose, I want a fixed discount, I want a percentage-based discount, I want it to be 5%, 27%, whatever. But on the onboarding, we make it super simple. We only have 3 options, 10%, 15%, 20%, and we even tell you what's the one most popular with merchants. And guess what? 85%, just click the 15%. It's because people believe social proof. Like Amos said, people believe the authority. And if you make it super simple for your merchants to take an action, they will take it. Smart defaults. So the power of default. Whenever we make anything in the app, we usually set up a default. It could be a default text, default status, turned on, turned off. 90% of merchants won't touch that, unless you invest a lot of effort in getting them to change the default. By the way, if you have something that you see that most merchants change the default for, maybe you should be the one changing it in the first place. So here's an example. When we send out review request emails, we have a default subject line that we use. If the merchant didn't decide to change the subject line, we'll send this: order 1234, please review your latest purchase. Now this might sound weird. Why would we include the order number in the subject line? But we did our own A/B testing, and we found that this email subject has the highest open rate and review rate. So we are choosing this default for the merchant so that if they don't invest any time, they don't have a different preference, they will gain the maximum value from our app with no effort. And lastly, intuitive UI. I'm not going to toot our own horn, but the idea is just to make sure everyone has different apps. Some of you have 1 tab, 2 tabs. We have 6 tabs. The idea is to make it super simple for the merchant to understand what's where. Dashboard settings, order reviews, these things are pretty clear, and we always use feedback that we get from merchants. If we get the same question like, I didn't understand how to do X, then we know that we need to fix where that is located inside the app. Okay, moving on to an effective knowledge base. Okay, so a few principles to have in mind when you build a knowledge base. A knowledge base is basically a collection of help articles that your customers can use in order to find answers to their own questions and instructions on how to perform things within the app. So first of all, have someone in charge of it. For us, this is Dor, is a very good-looking gentleman, and also the person in charge at Loox for the knowledge base. This takes more than 50% of his time, in addition to being a customer support manager at the company. He writes, rewrites the articles, he follows reports on how people use the knowledge base, and he optimizes it over time. Second, use very simple language instructions and visuals where you can. Probably at least half of your merchants are not going to be English speakers as their first language. They're going to be people from all over the world, from Brazil, from France, from China. They won't necessarily understand, American jargon. So just avoid that. Use very simple, short words to explain what to do. Try to keep it in a 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of format. If you can use images, do so. If you can create a video that explains how to do that, that's even better. Treat your knowledge base like a product, okay? Have KPIs and optimize it all the time. We use Help Scout to manage our knowledge base, and it gives us reports out of the box so we know which queries are most popular, when people are not satisfied from the answers that they read, how many articles per visit they see, etc., etc. And we keep this, we view this every month, and we decide how to optimize our knowledge base depending on the actual usage that we see. This is critical because the idea is to minimize support interactions, and so we need to be completely on top of what's going on within our help articles and whether or not it's helping our merchants. Make it easy and accessible. So as you can see on the top navigation, there is a help link which takes you to the knowledge base, always visible. And also at the bottom right, we have this beacon through which customers can quickly access help articles. Now, notice this. We actually customized the list of which articles appear depending on the page that the merchant is on. So if you're on the reviews tab, the articles that you will see here immediately are related to managing reviews. This usually helps them find what they're actually looking for. And if you know your merchants well enough, you'll know what question would come to mind when they visit a specific page. And so make sure that you make it really easy for them to access the right help articles and quickly. You can also do it, obviously, from within the UI where it makes sense. And lastly, keep it up to date. Always. Never let your knowledge base fall behind. This will create frustration. This will create anger with your merchants. They will think that you're not a serious company. So at Loox, what we do every time we write a functional spec for a new feature in the product, we have a section called Success, where the product manager actually signals to the success team whether or not we need to create or update a help article within the knowledge base based on the change that we're making in development. So super critical to have this connection. Moving on to automated communication. So Eric really covered most of this. I'm just going to run quickly. So we have an email sequence called product education, which is used for activation, like Eric mentioned. The first 30 days that the merchant joins, we have a sequence of emails that go out. It's not just a dumb sequence, like not everyone's getting the same emails, but it's segmented, which means we send different segments, different emails, depending on features that they activated, if they have or don't have orders, etc. So we try to make sure that it's as optimized as possible for us to get the results from that specific segment. Number 2, happy moments. Don't assume that your customers know the value that you're providing them. You might be creating great results. Eric showed earlier that they create an order through the thank you page and they send an email about that. They also ask for a review, which is great. And make sure that you reflect the value that you create and that you celebrate it with your customer. These emails, by the way, have more than 50% open rate. But if you write the subject line correctly, people will want to know this, and this will help you with retention and with word of mouth. Next, reflecting value. So this is more of an aggregate kind of view. We send this once a month, just aggregating as much as possible with dollar values, what kind of value our app is generating for the store. Again, very high open rates, a good opportunity for you to activate new features, to educate them on new stuff within the product. So you give them, the spiel of, this is what I did for you this month. And by the way, in case you didn't know, here are a few features you could use in addition. And again, do it customized, so you don't send someone who's already using a feature a recommendation for that feature. Upgrade flows. So obviously, you have to display prompts, especially if you have usage-based pricing or if you actually require customers to upgrade after a certain volume. In this case, I'll say, if you catch the merchant in your app admin, it's like 10 times or 100 times stronger than sending an email. What I asked Eric before was because we know that most merchants will open their emails on their phone. Not always the best time for them to act, especially not to upgrade, pay, configure something that's complex. So try to make sure that you can bring your customer into your admin. Sometimes it really makes sense for the app, like it's analytics, I want to go every day and check it. Sometimes it doesn't make so much sense and you need to find excuses to bring them in the app. But once you have them, try to grab that attention and do something with it, because when they're in your app, they're focused on your business and you can do something with that. And lastly, ask for feedback. This is an example of personal, I'd say seemingly personal email that's sent from me with my signature, etc., asking for a review. It's very similar to things that we've seen before, but use this, get feedback. If someone gives you a low rating, ask them why. Try to learn from that and to inform your marketing and to inform your product. Next, customer-driven roadmap, and I promise this is going to be short now. Okay, so we have a daily support email that our support team sends out, which includes which reviews we've collected on Shopify, what internal feedback we got from merchants, what is the uninstall feedback. I'm going to touch that in a second. So if someone uninstalls your app, Shopify is going to ask them why. You have to be aware of what they said. We also send another email with a questionnaire, why did you uninstall the app? And we learn from that what we did wrong so that we can, again, improve our product and build stuff in. If something is hard to configure, let's try to automate it. If something isn't clear, let's find a way to improve the UI so that they can find it more easily. And if we're missing a feature, okay, let's put it in the backlog and prioritize it accordingly. You don't have to build everything that your customers ask for, but you do need to be aware of what they're missing. Data, of course, you have to be very, very data-driven. When we're talking about being a self-serve product, this means that graphs is another way for you to listen to your customers. So you're looking at graphs, you see who activated which feature, how much did they customize it, did they come back, how many times did they visit their admin this month? And you have to use these graphs as if you spoke to thousands of customers and you're just getting aggregate answers on the screen. It's a miracle. You can see huge numbers. You can immediately understand what's not working, where you have a drop in the funnel, fix that, and you'll see immediate changes. So be very, very data-driven. Make sure to report everything and to measure it on an ongoing basis. We have at least 3 ongoing experiments at every given point of time. We review it every week. We close experiments, we open new experiments, and we keep on looking for ways to improve all of our funnels. And lastly, your vision. So I touched about that earlier. You don't always have to build what your customers are asking for. You need to understand what their pain is. Sometimes they say, build this feature, and we ask them, can you explain why you need that? You understand that you actually need to build something else. And you want to build something for the 99%. You don't always want to build for that 1%. Amos touched on, those big merchants wanting very, very custom solutions. They're going to try to make you build that for them because it's cheaper for them than to pay the agency sometimes. But you don't want to build a feature that then is used by 1 or 2 customers. You want to focus on a feature that's used by 99% of your customers, and sometimes it's okay to let that 1% go away, by the way. So this is, by the way, Henry Ford, if you didn't notice, who said, like, if I only asked people what they want, they'd say faster horses. He understood people what they want is comfort. They want to get quicker from one place to another, and he built a car, not a faster horse. And lastly, world-class customer support. So again, we did everything and perfectly. Still, there are going to be merchants who need help. Why? Some of them just need the human touch. Some of them genuinely didn't manage to get what they want from your app. So they need human help. The knowledge base wasn't clear enough. The UI wasn't good enough. There is a bug. Everything could happen. So make sure that when someone reaches out to you, that you're there and that you're responding in the best way possible. So first, choose your channels. We only do email, but we do 24/7 email. If you saw in one of the first slides, I said we now have 6 + 6. So the +6 is a team that we built in the Philippines that works 24/7 and responds to every email within the hour. So we make sure to answer almost all of our tickets within the hour, and we solve all of the tickets that we get within 24 hours. In case it's complicated, it takes more than an hour. Usually we solve it in less. Queue by urgency. If you get a large volume of tickets, make sure to answer those from your high-paced customers first, and to find words inside tickets that make them more urgent. If someone says as soon as possible, you probably want to look at that first and not to wait 40 minutes before looking at it. These things can tend to become one-star reviews on the App Store real quick. Aim to resolve it in minimum replies. So no busy work, no just asking questions in order to buy time. Try to just understand what they want. If you have to, ask a clarification question. Otherwise, just try to strive for a quick solution and move on with your life. Don't be right, be smart. We, for example, don't have a refund. We have a no questions asked refund policy. We basically, unless we feel that there is abuse here, we approve it and we move on. We don't waste time negotiating with merchants about $10 or $30. It's not worth it. Usually, that's our experience. And lastly, make it a happy moment. So if you can go the extra mile, if you can be super, super nice, if you can suggest something else that they can do to optimize their account, they'll be super grateful and they'll be super happy to write a review for you on the App Store. So make sure to do that. And to capitalize, you have to explicitly ask them for the review. They're usually not going to do it unless you ask them to do it. Recap. Okay, that's it. We're through everything. The 5 pillars of a self-serve solution: simple setup, effective knowledge base, automated communication, customer-driven roadmap, and if all else fails, world-class support. That's it. And big PS, we're hiring. We're 25 people today in the company. We're hiring for every position, especially full-stack developers. We're looking for great people who can be great owners, who want to be part of a flat team, have tons of influence, and reach a global scale. My name is Yoni. I may have not said that in the beginning, so thank you very much, and I'm open to questions.
You mentioned the automatic theme installment, and out of curiosity, one thing is how many of your merchants use one of those standard themes that you automatically can install, and what do you do if they don't?
So we have a fallback in case they don't use one of those themes, and the answer is that, Moran, do you remember? I think it's like 80-something% of merchants will use the top 20. Yeah, 85% of merchants will be using the top 20 themes, usually the free ones, obviously. If you're serving like the high-end customers, they may as well have like very, very custom themes, but we have a fallback where we place it in case we don't recognize the theme.
Fallback, you mean like in the code, or still automatic?
Still automatic, but not necessarily in the most ideal place, but we still place it on the page so that it works and you have the ability to change where it's located.
Thanks.
Yes.
There is a reason why you are using only email as support channel?
Good question. So first of all, we also check, obviously, our social accounts. So if someone sends us a message on Facebook or Instagram, we'll answer that as well, but we don't do chat. Chat is, like, if you can do chat, do chat. Chat is the best. All of us love chat. We all prefer to be answered in a second and have someone online with us, but it costs a lot. You really have to deliver on that. If someone sends you a chat message and you answer them after 15 minutes, no good. Email, if you answer after 15 minutes, you're amazing. So if you can do chat, do chat. We chose not to do chat, and I can tell you that I survived to tell you the story. Yes.
You mentioned that half of your customers don't speak English. Have you thought about offering support in other languages?
So we get many support tickets in other languages. Honestly, you just Google Translate that. you answer them in English, they Google Translate that, and it works. It's like there is no real strong expectation from those merchants that you actually know, Spanish, Portuguese, French, etc. We are thinking about, customizing maybe some of the admin parts to be more easily used for those segments. But yes, support is currently only in English.
About pricing, I assume that every month you add more features and you improve the product. So how do you implement it in the terms of pricing? Like, do you increase pricing, or is there a new huge feature? What do you do?
So first of all, we never change pricing for existing customers. This is called, in SaaS, it's called grandfathering, and you never want to change the rules of the game during the game. So anything that we change is going to only to be moving forward. So, pricing, there's no one formula. It's something that we always deal with. It's like one of the most impactful levers that you can pull in order to move the bottom line. So we talk about pricing a lot, and we experiment with pricing a lot. We experiment with the pricing page, with the price, with the packaging, with the UI, with different hacks. So pricing is a never-ending story. I can't give you like one answer. Sometimes it's like, okay, let's just put it in the pro plan and whoever's there can get it. Sometimes it's like, let's make them, add a $5 extra fee to access this feature.
You charge for some specific feature, like extra?
Usually not, but with our new referral solution that we released, we did put it in a plan that costs more. Yes.
Did you get any negative feedback about it?
Whatever you do, you're going to get negative feedback. Eventually, you have to look at the numbers. You need to look at retention. You need to look at average revenue per user. And you need to make an assessment whether or not this is positive for the business or not. There's also a competitive landscape that you need to take into consideration. So obviously, whenever you raise prices, someone's going to be sad.
One of the biggest opportunities in human support is that you can ask for a review later on. Did you find any way to do it automatically?
So first of all, yes. Like when we send someone a support response, there's a small snippet at the end. Was my support helpful? Yes, not really, no. And if they say yes, then we follow up and we ask them for a review. So it does happen in scale. There's nothing like speaking to someone and saying, hey, like, can you do this for me? And then it's going to happen. But as self-serve, we can't speak with thousands of customers. So we have to find these other ways to do it. And we also do it through happy moment emails, like Eric shared earlier. Yes?
Do you have any specific support treatment for agencies, or?
Yes. So first of all, we have a partners manager. That's her full-time job, is working with agencies and making sure that we provide them full support. Obviously, our support team, which is available 24/7, also answers agencies. We have a media kit. We have special resources available for affiliates. Obviously, we pay commission, or we let you pass a discount to your customers in case you're not interested in the commission yourself. So we have a full-blown partner program, and I'm happy to chat about that. Yes?
When do you know when you want to release a new feature or product? I guess it's a lot, you said that you were very data-driven and you work a lot with tickets that come from your customers. Like, what's your decision-making process looks like in terms of when you know, okay, we have tons of requests, we're going to release this feature?
It's always a mix, It's always a mix between what we hear from the customers. So usually when it's like small, when it's broken windows, like something isn't working great and you know that you have a good fix for that, that will be super prioritized. Because this self-service thing, you always need to make sure that it's greased. And when you change something, something else can break. And you want to make sure that you always keep things working smoothly so that the business runs. Then, it becomes like, okay, I want to build something new. Do I go with my own vision? Do I go with things that came up from the customers? It's very subjective. There's no one answer on how you should do it. Again, you always need to consider your competition, the segments that you offer. Is this going to be something that's used by many of the customers or just a small few? So I'd say, we have debates every week, on what we prioritize. Every month we decide what's the plan for the month. We have sprints, and it's an ongoing discussion always. We have our vision for the year, but plans are, they're dispensable. Okay, thank you all very much. It was great.